army, see the world.
Pay your taxes, pay your
Make
taxes.
way! Make way!
Join the army, come over here, sign up. Yes.
Well, here we are again. Another year, another Christmas, and the same old story. Mary's miraculously pregnant. Joseph and Mary go to Bethlehem. Some shepherds come. Wise men bring gifts. And that's it. End of story. Is that really why we've come? To hear that same story again? Is it even relevant today? Well, we're here already. We might as well hear it again. But can someone please tell me something new?
Don't be afraid! No, it's okay. Don't be afraid. Say, have you ever noticed that every time I had to make an appearance in the Christmas story, I had to say, don't be afraid? I mean, people believe in angels, but when we actually show up, they're terrified. Truth is, I have something incredibly important to say. Finally, God's plan from the beginning to save the world was about to be put into motion. Emmanuel, God with us. Joseph and Mary were about to welcome God into their family. And my message to the shepherds was that God was giving great joy to all people through the gift of an infant. Now, does that sound like something to be afraid of?
I guess not. No. I hadn't really thought of it like that before. This didn't happen randomly. God had a plan from the very beginning. I wonder what else I missed. I know this part of the story.
What exactly do you know?
Mary and Joseph, you're miraculously pregnant. You go to Bethlehem, shepherds come. Something about free gifts. That's it, end of story.
Well, that's the basics. but didn't you say you wanted to hear something new?
There's more?
Let's start with the fact that I'm barely in my teens, and an angel shows up with the most amazing but terrifying message. I was to give birth to the Messiah. I wasn't married yet, and the people of Nazareth began to talk. And how did I explain this to Joseph?
Your story was too impossible to believe, so I made the choice I was going to divorce you quietly.
But you didn't.
No, because I had a terrifying encounter with an angel! He startled me at first, but the message he came with was loud and clear. I was to marry you and raise God's child as my own.
So wait a minute. That means that all the rumors said about Mary were said about you as well. I hadn't even considered how important the angel's message was to you. You're about to raise God's son.
When the time came for Mary to give birth, we had to go to Bethlehem to register for the census. There were so many people and the inns were full, nobody would take us in.
But God provided, and the innkeeper allowed us into his stable. It was smelly and dirty, but there I birthed the most beautiful baby boy.
And we named him Jesus.
That was beautiful. Heartbreaking, but heartwarming, all at the same time.
And then there's us, the nobodies. Well, I wouldn't say we're nobodies. Our sheep really like us.
Well, that's true.
You must be the shepherds. There can't be much more you can add to this story.
Well, that's offensive, I'll say.
At least you know who we were. We got stuff, Dad.
Yeah, like the night we were watching our sheep, it was fine. And then out of nowhere, the angel showed up and nearly scared us all half to death.
Well, I wasn't really that scared.
Really?
I might have been a tiny bit scared.
I don't think so.
Okay, I was really scared, but we're nobodies. I mean, why would God send an angel to us with the news of the newborn Messiah? Why not the king? Why not the religious leader?
Now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not that we're complaining, mind you. That was like the greatest night of our lives. I mean, you remember the whole company of angels singing, just filling the sky?
A newborn king lying in a manger?
After we saw that, we couldn't help ourselves. We had to go and tell everyone we met on the street that Messiah had come to save us.
I don't mean to offend you guys,
Could have fooled me.
No kidding.
but why would God choose you to deliver the message of Jesus' birth? Why didn't he go to the kings and the religious leaders?
You know, that's still offensive, but at least I get your point. You know, I believe it's because Jesus came for everyone. Not just the rich, not just the popular, not just the good looking. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you've done. Jesus came to save all of us.
Right. That actually makes perfect sense.
Wait! Did you really just say something about free gifts earlier? I hardly consider gold, frankincense, and myrrh merely free gifts.
Surely we were more memorable than that.
We are scholars and advisors to wealthy kings.
We traveled great distances to bestow our offerings before the king.
Wait a minute. Aren't there only supposed to be 3 of you?
Well, there were 3 gifts.
Offerings.
Pardon me, offerings, not necessarily 3 wise men.
Of course, we know how many of us there are, but we are telling. And for argument's sake, and to make a point, we brought 4 of us. And we're advisors to kings, not kings ourselves.
Well, you guys must be pretty wise. I mean, how else would you even know where to go?
We saw his star rise.
And when we saw it, we knew this king was special. We had to come honor him.
Of course, we went to the wrong place first. We thought he'd be born in the palace.
We were wrong. Fortunately, the star led us to the child.
When we got there, we realized that this child was not just special and worthy of honor. He was worthy of our worship. We fell to our knees and worshipped him.
Wow. There's so much more to this story than I realized.
This was God's plan all along, to save his people. When I spoke to Mary, even though she was afraid, she said,
I am the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said.
Mary chose to follow God's plan. And when I appeared to the shepherds, they were abiding in their fields, watching over their flocks by night. It didn't matter who they were, what they did, or what they'd done. God still chose them to announce the Savior had come. They left behind everything they deemed important, all to bear witness of the King. The same King the wise men fell to their knees to worship. And the story doesn't end here.
How could there possibly be more?
One day that baby would grow up and redeem his people on the cross. We need to know the depths of his story to change our story. And the only way to change your story is to see the baby in the manger as the Savior on the cross. Now, you asked if this story was even relevant today. The answer is yes. You see, God's plan is still at work in all of us, all because of the birth of our Savior.
You're right. He is my Savior.